Hello everyone, welcome to the sixth part of the beginner level series. In this video, we will see how to animate object in Blender. A simple drop animation we will see how to achieve it. We will be using the objects which we created in the previous videos, including the table which I gave as an assignment. If you have some difficulties in building the table, you can refer to the video which I have shared as a non-beginner level series. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's start it. Okay, we will delete the cube, we don't need it. So the first thing what we are going to see is how to reuse the existing models or existing files you have for a project. Okay, to reuse existing objects or existing items in Blender, you can use file append option. So this append will, what it will do is it will take an existing property of a blend file and it will copy to your current blend file. There are a lot of things you can append from an existing file. For this video, we will need, as I mentioned, we will need the models which we built for previous videos. We need the table, we need the torchlight and the tray and a room. So let's take the room first. Yeah. If you click on append, it will open the .blend file and it will show you different options which you can append or which you can add to this blend file. So we need the object, we don't need anything else. So the room which we built is just a cube, so I have added it. It will take along with the texture properties. Okay, so there is no issue. So we have taken the room. Let's keep it in the solid mode for now. Okay, we brought the room. Let's add the remaining objects. Here the table we need, cylinder and cube. Let's resize it. The room size, and the alignment is not proper on the right left side, so let's rotate it a bit. Looks better. And position it on the floor. That's fine, right? Okay, let's rename it as table cube. This will be room. It's good to rename it as and when you get the opportunity, so that you don't get confused too much when you work with a lot of objects. Okay, we have the table and the room. Now we need the flower vase and the torchlight. Okay, let's go append. Yeah, flower vase, torch and the torch button. We don't need the tray because we have the table here already. Okay, let's resize it. It's easy if you go from one view to another. Somewhere here and on the right side. And let's reduce the size. Yeah. Okay. Now let's we do the same on the torchlight. Resize it, go for front view and bring it to the alignment, and go to right view, bring it closer and resize it. We have a room, a table and two objects. So what we will see in today's video is we will see a simple drop animation, how if you drop an object from a certain height on the floor, how it works or how to achieve it, we will see in this video. Okay, for that let's take the flower vase a little bit higher from the ground or from the surface for the drop animation, and a little bit tilt to a certain position, not on flat. Okay, so for the drop animation to work or any kind of motion to work, you can simulate the real world properties in Blender. This you can achieve through rigid body constraints. Okay, let's select the flower vase and go to physics properties, go to rigid body and say select as active. Okay, what difference it makes? Okay, let's see that. I will rotate this also to a little bit similar to the flower vase. Okay, now I have made this as active and I didn't give anything for this. Okay, see, let's see what difference it makes. So if I when I click on the space bar, it actually plays the animation through this time frame, and the flower was moved but the torchlight stayed there because it doesn't have any rigid body property to behave. So when I say active means it will move. So now if I press the space bar again, you can see it falls down and it goes beyond that. You can see that it goes. Okay, now the problem here is, even though it moves, it's not considering the boundary here. So for that to be established, you need to make the surface which or where you want this to be behaved like that. There also you have to put a rigid body property that you have to set it as passive. So this is the difference here. Okay, I have set this to passive. Now let's see what happens. Now you can see it stayed here and it is moving around, but it is not realistic, but it just behaves like, and it considers this particular surface as a rigid body. Now what happens if I drop it on the floor? Okay, let's move it a little bit here. Okay, now you can see, so even though it has the rigid body property, it goes through the floor. That's because this particular area is not given any rigid body property. Okay, we can apply it to the whole room, but there is a challenge. I will show you what happens here. Let's say this is also passive. Let's try. See what happens is, since we consider this whole closed location as rigid body, it goes in a non expected direction, just escape from that particular area. But that's not the result what we want. So we'll remove this rigid body from the room. We need only the floor. Okay, so let's go to edit mode of this room, 3 for face selection, and right click. You can separate it by selection. What it does is it separates this particular surface from the whole object and add it as a new object. If I go out of edit mode, now you can see this will be room and this bottom section will be room, not one. So let's change it to floor. So this way the texture, everything remains same. You can still split it without affecting the existing properties. Okay, now I can apply the rigid body constraint only to this surface and it will not affect the animation. Let's see, I have applied the passive rigid body property for this floor. Let's try. Now you can see, now the torchlight and the flower vase just falls down and it considers this as a floor. The problem is it's falling down but it's not realistic. Okay, this particular thing you have to tweak and uh, achieve that believable drop animation using these properties just mentioned here under this rigid body. Okay, for the objects and also non-moving objects. To the moving objects and to the non-moving objects you have to apply certain properties. Okay, let's see what we have. First, if you see closely on the moving object, it falls but it doesn't behave like it's jumping on the surface. It's because usually it will be plastic and this will be a ceramic or something. It will usually break, but for this video we don't consider that. It will be a complicated topic. For now, we will just see it won't break, but it does just falls down. So this won't jump much, but since it's a plastic and it's a hollow object, it should jump a little bit. Okay. Okay. Let's see what this does. Okay, this falls down, but then it kind of takes momentum from there onwards. So this is something we don't need it. Restrict this motion on the object. We can come down. You see something called collision. Okay, this what it does is it defines a property or defines a boundary for the object. I put it for cylinder. Now you can see there is a difference. I'll show you again. Convex hull is different, and the cylinder it defines the boundary differently. Okay, now let's try to do the drop animation again for flowers. Now notice there will be a difference. See, behaves like a cylinder now. Yeah, now that's much better, but still it doesn't work much. Okay, now let's go back to the next property. Bounciness we don't need, but on the dynamics part we want to control the rotation and translation movements. What this does is it over a period of time it will dampen or it will reduce, control the motion. Okay, this will be linear motion, this will be the rotary motion. So let's see how it behaves now. Now you can notice it's not, it's going really slow and it is not coming up. Okay, like this torchlight, it is not coming up. This is good, this is good. It just controls the motion after the object touches the floor. Same way we have to do on the torchlight, but this time this has to jump a little bit. So let's work on the bounciness here. On the surface response on the torchlight, let's increase the bounciness. Okay, and a little bit reduce the friction. Now let's see what happens. It still doesn't bounce if you see, because this particular surface also has to have the bounciness property enabled. Okay, then only it will bounce. Now you can see it just bounced once and now it is falling down, but it is little bit slow. So slowly little bit rotate it so that we don't have come into that situation. Okay, let's try again. Now this is much better. This is much better. See, torchlight is much better. Let's move it a little bit on the table now and try this. Okay, what friction does is friction, it just whether it is slippery or not, it decides that. Let's reduce the friction and check. Okay, there is no friction here. See, it just rolls down and it goes. So we need little bit of friction but not too much. So maybe for which object you are applying the property you have to be careful. Okay, on the torchlight friction, let's keep it 0.05. Same for the flower vase, same for the surface and for the floor. Okay, let's try now and see there is a little bit of difference. See, it behaves like a smooth surface and it is just falling down. And now let's try to increase the friction here just so that it doesn't roll away. See, that's it. So similarly you can try different methods, but to start with animation in Blender, especially with the falling objects and things, you have to work on the rigid body constraints between active and passive. You can play around similar way with other objects you might have created, Please feel free to ask questions if you have anything. I will try to clarify it as much as possible. Today we saw how to append the existing properties, existing objects from a different .blend file to the current file. That's the first thing we saw. Second thing, we arranged the objects based on the requirement, and then we saw how to drop an object in Blender. So how this drop animation works, how to make it more realistic using the properties we have at our place. Okay. So in next video, we will go to the final part. In this final part, we will bring this animation to a more realistic using all the colors and everything. That's about it. If you want me to change something, improve some part of this training content, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to improvise it. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to put it in the comment section. And if there is something that you feel is really good that I should maintain in the upcoming videos also, please that also will let me know in the comment section. So I'll be eager to know your thoughts on this video and this complete series. Please like this video and share with your friends, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. A lot of interesting contents coming your way. See you guys in the next video. Take care.